Frontier has the easiest status match ever. Hampton wants you to make their waffles. Hyatt's canceling a bunch of members for fraud. And Amex Platinum, more rumors for what's coming to that card. All of that coming up right now on MTM Travel. Well, happy Labor Day, Mark. It's good to see you. You're not at the lake. We were just talking about the weather, and it's sort of cold up there.
Yeah, it's been cold the last couple of weeks. I think that's kind of everywhere, or a big portion of everywhere. Cold front came through or whatever, and it's been 70s, and it's a big lake, so it doesn't cool off too quickly, but it's still, not quite warm enough to make you feel like you want to spend all day in it. But we did get out there a little bit yesterday, floated, hung out, but I came back last night so we could do the show. So shout out to everybody else that's working on Labor Day.
Yeah, we're recording this, and it's going to go out on Labor Day, so everybody who's not working, we hope you enjoy this show as it comes out. It's funny talking about weather, because we talked on the Vegas show about weather, and I said how one day it was 95, and that's true. I looked at my phone, and I was in the shade, and I felt kind of cool. I was like, oh, this weather is super nice. And then when I listened to myself say that back on the show, it's ridiculous to say that 95 felt good, even though it did. I don't know what the truth is, but that was my life experience.
I mean, if you're in the shade and there's a little breeze, it probably feels like 80, 85, which in August in Vegas is kind of unheard of. I don't even want to go near Vegas most of the summer.
Yeah, and you get used to the warm temps. So when you do go like 10, 15 degrees colder, it gets good. But this is the time we're starting to look, September. So in Vegas, a few more weeks and it'll start to be decent weather, and then we'll get that until the cold of the winter. But yeah, summer's over, and I hope everybody had a great summer travel season. And hopefully they had some good trips. I didn't do much other than my big trip to Europe earlier in the summer and then sat home in the heat. But yeah, I mean, what better time to travel? Kids back in school. You're talking about college football just started. It's like a whole different season now.
Yeah, that was the one good thing about it being cooler weather, was it was like 65 at kickoff for Michigan State's first game of the year. So we had the fire going, watching the TV outside and everything. It just felt like it was mid-October instead of late August, which is kind of crazy. I can't remember it being this cold before. I'm sure it has, but it just seems like usually end of August, early September, usually the hottest day of the year is always like the first soccer practice we have at the kids' school, and I'm out there sweating my balls off. Can I say balls? I'm going to say balls. Sweating my balls off in the heat.
Yeah, I hope so. They exist and they're there. Why not? Why not?
Hey, except for one ball, Paul. They don't both exist.
Okay, well, maybe we should talk.
You guys ever
here.
had that joke back in the middle school?
I don't think so.
Paul? Oh,
no.
I hope there wasn't actually a kid named Paul with one testicle. That would be sad.
There was an urban legend about the kid, that you played Little League with that didn't wear the cup and had to lose one.
Yeah.
I think that I don't think that kid actually existed. Maybe that's just the thing our parents told us in order to get us to wear the cups when we were playing. But I do know there was always a story of the kid in my Little League who lost one because of a line drive to the scrotum.
What's the first thing you did when you got to the field with your cup in?
I don't know. It hurt. I don't know. What did you do? You got to adjust it, right?
You knock it to make sure that you show that it works.
Yeah, you're right. It's funny how universal things are. I used to hate wearing a cup, though. I hated it. Yeah, it was so uncomfortable. I remember that. Yeah, it's those little things that you don't remember from childhood. Obviously, athletes, they experience that into adulthood, but lazy people like me, we only did that as a kid. But yeah, good times ahead, and I'm happy to be out of the summer. I don't like the summer here in Vegas, so that's good. And I have travel coming up, all kinds of good stuff. And one of my favorite airlines, Frontier, Mark, they're, it used to be that they had these status matches. You had to have status, and we talked about how I got their diamond status for many years for free, and it was really good. And they would have these requirements, I guess, that you would have status, but they only loosely enforce them. And now they just did away with that, basically. They said anybody, I mean, you do have to have a membership with certain other airlines, but you don't have to have status. Anybody can get gold status. They're charging $69. They've always done a charge for that. That goes to the website that processes all of this. But you get free bags. You get, I think, seat selection on day of. Some interesting perks. It takes away a lot of the fees that you would pay on Frontier. For $69, it's a great deal. Everything's been $69 lately. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like teen us is making jokes, or maybe everybody in our age demographic is now running these things. So they're like, "Hey, let's make it that. That's cool." I don't know, but no, this is a good deal. We should say like gold status. Usually, most of the perks are just for you. You don't get them for like everybody booking with you. At least for some of the stuff, I believe seat selection is that way for gold, where you have to be, the next tier up to be able to get it for everybody in your booking party. So you might do best if you're a two-person household, or if you have two adults, do status match for two people. Because I think after one flight, for sure, one round trip, if you were going to pay for this stuff anyway, you're going to get your money back. So it's worth it. If you fly it 2, 3, 4 times, you're going to come out way ahead. It's kind of like buying like discount den, or whatever, the perks works, whatever the hell they call it, for one flight, but you're getting it for over a year of this type of thing. So when I fly these, I usually just bring a backpack. I don't pick a seat, but it would be kind of nice to be able to bring a little bit something bigger, and being able to select a seat ahead of time, just to do those types of things. Because every time we fly, my kids are like, "Do I have to bring a backpack?" And then they pout. So maybe this would help.
I've done many of these Frontier status matches with this same website. We do have an affiliate link for that. So if you want to sign up, you can support the show by doing that. But I have done it many times. I currently still have gold status because I did the match last year to their top tier diamonds. I forget what they call it now. They changed the names of all their statuses. But the thing for that was I was able to give somebody gold. So I gifted myself gold for the next year because it gives you a promo code. And then I waited for my status to expire and I used the promo code. And
I thought you were going to say
discount them.
I thought you were going to say you gifted to your son because he has the same name, and then just did it that way. But no.
No, I just waited for my status to expire, applied the code. And then I also had discount den membership because you get it when you do the match, you get it for like a year, but then there was an overlap. So I was able to re-up the discount den membership. That's the only reason I'm not doing this now, because I agree with you. $69. If you do one round trip flight, it makes sense. If you have more people, and everybody's not carrying on and stuff like that, you can, take the bag and all of that. You can take some of the perks on yourself, some other person's bag, stuff like that. But we saved a ton of money. And more importantly, I've only had good experiences on Frontier. I've had great experiences. I've flown them dozens of times in the last couple of years. I don't really know anybody who talks about this for a living who's flown them as much as I have. At least in the miles and point space.
Wow.
So that's the real reason. No, I'm saying, but I really recommend, like, I've had good experiences.
Thousands
like,
of hotels.
Because they get
dozens
of
Frontier
trashed.
Flights, people.
Because people who never fly them trash them constantly. It's dumb. It's dumb. Like, yeah like the seats are hard and there's some things. And as long as you know what you're getting into, it's a good deal.
Yeah, I think if you're flying a nonstop flight and it's under 3 hours, who cares? Your butt will get numb on any plane about that time. And if you don't have a connection, you're less likely to miss things and have those issues. We've talked about this before, that I fly Spirit of them all, of between the two more often, better routing out of Detroit. And also I feel like the experience is a little bit better there. I've had some bad experience on Frontier, mainly with the people I'm flying with, not so much actual Frontier people, or flight attendants or anything like that. It's just, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm flying them to Vegas and everybody's just kind of a jerk on those flights sometimes. People say, no, I'll never fly either of those airlines. It's just stupid. We've talked about in the past on how you can save money by going to the airport. So you can get these super cheap. I mean, I did 4 round trip flights to New York for $114 in total on Spirit by going to the airport. You can't beat that. Like, I'll fly strapped to the roof for $100 or $25 a person or whatever it was. Like, that's just insane.
My favorite Frontier story is got on the plane, we boarded, we left the gate, and then something happened, and there was going to be like an air traffic control delay for like over an hour. And the captain came on and said, operations wants me to keep you guys on the plane, but I'm not going to keep you on the plane. I'm going to let you get off the plane so you're not trapped here, because it could be an hour, but then they could extend it. And he did that. And I remember getting off the plane and everybody was so mad at the airline. I'm never going to fly Frontier again. I said, do you understand what this pilot just did? He just let you be free instead of trapping you in this little plane sitting here so you could be pissed. And that's the point, is people get mad. Things go wrong. Airlines do you wrong. Just fly what gets you there quickest and what's the best deal. And I've had good experiences on Spirit too. It really is nonsense, all of the hate for these airlines. There's some bad things. If you don't know what you're getting into, you can get big fees. If you're in a market where they only have like 2 flights a week, you could get stranded. That is certainly something that could happen.
Yeah, and that happened to my mom once. She was flying, I believe it was Spirit, back to Jacksonville when they had that route out of Detroit, and they got stranded, and they wouldn't have been able to get them out. It was like a Sunday night flight. They wouldn't have been able to get them out until Tuesday because that was the next time they're flying. So I ended up having to book them on Delta, and they don't have like interline agreements, so they're not going to pay to put you on somebody else's flight. You're just going to get a refund for the flight that you did have booked. So that does suck, and you have to be kind of willing to deal with that. And if you have miles and points, I think it makes it a bit easier to work yourself around all those things. So I don't think low cost carriers are anything to avoid. A lot of times they're just so much cheaper, and you can get the big front seat on Spirit a lot of times cheaper than you can get domestic main cabin or even basic economy on another airline, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. So yeah, don't overlook them. It's just funny that Spirit's like going through bankruptcy and Frontier's trying to steal everybody's elites. You can see the difference between the two, like what decisions they made along the way and how much that changed things.
And we've talked a lot on the show. The airline industry is in a bit of a flux, and business models are being changed, and they're all starting to look the same. So you have your legacy carriers, you have airlines like Southwest, and then you have your low-cost carriers, and they're all sort of moving to the same place, it seems like, with their seat products and with their bag products and everything, their fees. And so, yeah, I don't know that there's as much a line between a low-cost carrier, something like a Southwest or a JetBlue, and the traditional legacy carriers. They're all kind of becoming similar, less legroom, harder seats, all of that. And yeah, just get you where you want to go. So did you see this story about National Waffle Day, Mark? I hope that you're going to make a video for this and submit it through September 5th. So people have a few days to do this. So you make a video, submit it. It has your waffle recipe. And if they choose you, they're going to serve your waffle, I guess, your waffle recipe in Hamptons all across the country, the world. I don't know. But you will get the title of Guest Waffle Boss. And then you'll also get a 5-night stay at Hampton by Hilton and 1 million Hilton Honors points. But I think the bragging rights would be fun. So you going to do it?
No. Million Hilton points would be fun. I don't know. I don't care if they call me Waffle Boss. If nobody ever eats my waffle, no, I probably won't. I just don't have the time to put the video together. Maybe I'll have my son do it and submit it and have him come up with something. I think that'd be kind of fun. He likes making videos and all those things. So I'll talk to him after this. But I think I like this one because you get the 1 million points, which is cool. But then you get the 5-night stay, and it's not like a set. You have to come here, or we're doing this for a golf tournament, so you have to come to the tournament, or you have to travel on these dates. It's kind of open, and I think Wyndham really started all of this, and I know there was other things like this in the past, but Wyndham really started these unique, like, be our CEO for the day, be in charge of the golf outing for the day, do this, be our dining coordinator or whatever, and now you see Hilton doing it. Other places have done it. I think they're kind of fun and quirky, and they lean into social media a bit. So it's fun to see these.
When I met with the Hilton executives last year, I talked with the executive who's in charge of these types of promotions across the different brands. Think of the ones that are more attuned to Hilton. This might be specific to Hampton, so the Hampton vice president might be handling that. But all these activations and all these different experiences, and we always talk about how culture today is about experiences, and they really do go out of their way to like try to figure out unique, fun ways to do this, and sometimes they accomplish that. And Hilton honors experiences like where you can redeem points. I've done it for a concert in the past. There's all that. But I agree with you. This is an interesting way to get your brand out there. It kind of dials into a feature of the brand that people love, the waffles. They should do a Doubletree cookie. I guess you can't really change the recipe of the Doubletree cookie. Like you could be the cookie boss.
Let's yeah, I agree. Bring some Girl Scout Thin Mints in there. A little cold. Put them in the. You got to put the Thin Mints in the fridge. That's the best way to do it.
Can we talk about this? I feel like the Doubletree cookie has Hilton claims it's the same recipe it's always been. So maybe my memories are bad. And the first few times I ever stayed at a Doubletree, it was so special to me to get the cookie that I just loved it and all that. I still like it. It tastes really good, but it's just hard. I feel like sometimes they leave them in those drawers. They have like a warming drawer at the front desk, and it's like old. And so like my last several Doubletree stays, I've either not taken the cookie or I'll take the cookie and take a bite of it, but it's not what it was. So my question to you out there, everybody watching, has it changed, or am I just making this up and I just don't like that cookie?
They need to give you a scoop of the vanilla ice cream to go with it or something. If it's always been warm for me. I've never been like super excited about it. Maybe when I was a kid, it was like, oh, I'm getting dessert for free or whatever. And now I just get them and give them to the kids because I don't want, that 900 calories hitting my gut just for no
That's the problem.
reason.
Once we learned how many calories were in it, it really ruined the whole thing because it has to be spectacular for that amount of calories.
Yeah, that's why, like, whenever my wife's like, "Do you want to go here for pizza?" I'm like, "No, I'm not wasting my pizza day on mediocre pizza. Like, I want to have good pizza if I'm going to do it, as I'm trying to eat a little bit healthier and everything." It's like you have to make those decisions. So I think that's just part of it. And then everything as a kid seems better than it is, bigger than it is, tastes better. You have, more vivid memories back then, I feel like. But it's just funny, like, how you're like, "Oh man, this place used to be great." Is it? Is it different, or did I just not know what was good back then? I don't know.
Doubletree is the most interesting brand because I've stayed at like a Doubletree in Phoenix by the airport, which looked like an apartment building from the 1970s. And then I've stayed at like a Doubletree in Kuala Lumpur, which was brand new and like a luxury hotel. It's such an interesting brand, sort of all over the place. But yeah, that cookie. And to your point, my daughter, her face lights up anytime we're going to a Doubletree because of the cookie. But the thing is, as you said that, I realized I don't think I ever went to a Doubletree as a kid. So my first experiences were in my early 20s and stuff like that. So I don't know what my excuse is.
You were sleeping in like back rooms where you're exploding diarrhea all over the toilets. So anything that was clean sounded good.
It's true. We were on our road trip around the U.S. like when we started our trip, and I remember in Lowell, Massachusetts, like I used Priceline a lot of the time to bid on hotels, and that was really good.
That was
at
always
the time.
fun. It was like gambling.
Yeah, and like we had a set budget because remember we're on the this road trip. It was our year and a half around the world, but we started with 3 months around the United States. So 3 months on the road in the U.S. can get quite expensive, and so oftentimes I would bid on like 1-star hotels, and we would get like extended stay Americas. But I had a certain budget, so I would play with Priceline, and in certain markets we could get cheaper. And I remember we got the DoubleTree in Lowell, Massachusetts, which was a wonderful hotel. Like the rooms were giant. Again, we've been sleeping in really not sketchy places. I always looked at anyway, not the sketchiest places, but one step above the sketchiest places. And that's probably why I love the Doubletree cookie, honestly, is that stay, because I remember just loving that hotel. It was so nice compared to everywhere we were staying. The cookies were wonderful. Lowell, Massachusetts, walking around there is wonderful. And there you go. I figured it out.
Yeah, I remember I used to use Priceline all the time for work because my company would give me like a set rate, or you can do for this much, or they had booked a room when I was sent to Detroit for the first time. I was working out of Kalamazoo, and they sent me over here to help out with a branch, and they're like, we have a booked like a set rate at this one hotel. It's 20 minutes away from the branch. You can stay there. And I went there, and it was a crappy roadside motel. It was just kind of disgusting. Not dirty, but just kind of run down. But it was like $55 a night. So I was like, so if I can get a room for like 55, $60 somewhere else, can I stay there? And they're like, yeah, here's the corporate card. As long as you're in that range, you're fine. So I would just go to Priceline every week before I'd go out there, and I'd bid $55, and then with the fees and stuff, it'd be around 60. And I'd get like Sheratons and stuff like that, like 3-star hotels that were pretty nice for the same price because they're just trying to fill rooms back then. And just think of how crazy that sounded and how unique. And now, I probably would have racked up a ton of free nights because I spent a lot of nights in Pricelines and never got anything for it. So you just are like, dang, I could have stayed at Priceline hotels for vacations for months after.
Yeah, it was great back in the day, those $50 nights, and we did often hit those. Like it wasn't in most places, depending on the night that you're going in, and that's why we'd end up in a lot of extended stays. But I would stay within our price range, and I would always try for the higher tiers first. And I wonder how many people still use Priceline. I think probably a lot of people who watch this show have a lot of points. I've used it in the recent years for Disney hotels in Florida, and I've heard anecdotally that they're still doing that, where they will dump a lot of inventory on the slower days because they don't want to put it on their site. They still want to sell the room for $300 on their site, so they'll dump it for $75 on Priceline in order to fill the rooms, and so they can still get that higher spending customer. But yeah, it's been a great service, and I wonder, if you still use it, let us know down in the comments, because I'm sure there's still uses, and we get so much in the weeds, maybe we forget that we should be using it. I think both of us are drowning in free hotel nights and stuff like that. That's really, I think, more of the issue.
Especially with this Amex Platinum crap coming down the pipeline. But, I'm kind of surprised. Like, and this is what I don't get with hotels with points bookings. Like, if they get to a certain level, 90% or whatever it is, occupancy, then they get paid the full rate, even on award stays. And if it's below that, then they get like $50 or something cheap. So why wouldn't you just try to like put a whole bunch of Priceline hotels up there so you could get your rate up? Or you should have points availability like all the time, trying to fill up to a certain point. And then once you get to 90%, maybe you charge cash, or maybe you want, like, you should open up the whole catalog when you get to 90% if they're going to be paying full freight. If Hyatt's going to be paying for those points at the $300 a night instead of 50, you should open up the award space, and they have the control here. But somebody that's doing it doesn't fully understand this or doesn't want to play the game. I don't know, or maybe they can't. But it just seems like something that they would be better at.
Oh my God. I was going to say the Hyatt hotels should fill up their occupancy with fake hotel guests to tease a story that we're going to talk about in a minute. But you talk about revenue managers, and that's a job that's like so mysterious, I think, to guests. And I've talked to a couple revenue managers. I don't have a great idea on what they do. I do know that when you walk into a hotel, and I will say this again, with a good management team and a good revenue management team, meaning a hotel that's profitable but also provides great service, that you can feel the difference right away. When you have a hotel where somebody's trying to cut every little thing, and this is often what revenue managers do, especially in lower end hotels, you start to notice that. But then you go to a really nice, fancy hotel where they charge for everything, and so they are getting paid for everything, yet they understand where to keep the service in the places that it's supposed to be. And it's such an interesting job, I would imagine, as a revenue manager of a hotel. I don't know. You don't see interviews with revenue managers very often.
Yeah, I do wonder, like, is the Hyatt IT team running a lot of this on the back end? How much freeway or how much ability does the actual hotel have? I feel like they probably could customize it quite a bit if they want to. That's just a guess on my part. I've talked to some front end employees and stuff, and they do have a lot of leeway, at least at certain hotels, and that comes down to the discretion of the hotel. Like, they can give you, if they see you're a globalist, they can give you extra credit, drinks at the bar, things like. They have this ability at some of the better hotels, and they just take it away from the front desk agents at lower end hotels because they don't want that cost. But if you're going to, a 4 or 5 star hotel, they do have often some leeway there. They can give you some perks. They can, upgrade you if you give them the $20. Like, they have that ability within it, and they just play games, or they're kind of worn out on the whole thing, or they deal with jerks all day and they don't want to do it.
So let's talk games. Hyatt is involved in this lawsuit, and Gary from View from the Wing, he wrote an article about this, and it's specific to their properties in China and the Urcove brand. And I didn't know this, that Urcove is owned, or it's a partnership of Hyatt and another company. I did know that their hotels in China were joint partnerships, but I guess Urcove is specifically something different. And so it's not tied into Hyatt's system. So when you stay at a Urcove property, apparently, to give you credit, it's all manual. And apparently some of the properties in China were offering Hyatt elites status or credit for not staying there. So pay a certain amount per night. I think there was like packages, 25 night credit for $1,000, stuff like that. And Hyatt got wind of this eventually. And they didn't go after the hotels. They went after the customers, shutting down accounts, taking points, doing all of that. My question to you is, if a Hyatt hotel advertised this, forget about all the other things. You know that, I wouldn't even know, like, if they said get 20 nights credit and you pay that and it's from the hotel, how would you even know that's against the program rules, or that the program isn't offering it themselves? It seems not very good of Hyatt here to ban these customers. They should be going after the properties and not the customers who bought this, even though, yes, if you get credit and you don't stay in a hotel, it is against the terms and conditions.
Yeah, but it's China, man. That's why they're not going after the hotels. It's different rules there. Like, the laws are different, all that stuff. If it was a U.S. hotel, I think they would have gone after the hotel. I think they'd still go after the people just because that's the way they are. And all these companies, and you are technically kind of breaking the terms. But if they're advertising it, I do think that, you should give a little leeway there. It's not like they worked out, and we've all had people that have done backdoor deals with hotels, like, hey, charge me $50 a night during a promo, like that. Let's say the Built and Hyatt promo 2 years ago, whatever, where you could get globalist status after like 20 nights. You go to a local Hyatt place and say, hey, can you charge me $50 a night and give me 10 nights? I won't check in. You have no cost. You're just, I'm buying elite nights. And the hotels will do that because it's money for them, especially coming out of COVID and everything. The bookings probably weren't as high at some of these local roadside hotels. So they were willing to do it. It could have gotten them in trouble with Hyatt. Yeah. Could have gotten us in trouble with Hyatt. Yes. But it's not a manual process. It's part of their system. So it probably flew under the radar. Plus, they're not advertising it. The fact that they were selling more rooms than they had available in the hotel just shows that they didn't have a good revenue manager.
Yeah, they messed up there. I mean, obviously, the average rate that you're going to have for these, if it's put into the system, is going to be different. I do think that you make a good point that this was a manual process, and probably whoever was doing it on the Yurkov side probably was in on it, or certainly wasn't, was able to manipulate the stuff. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of accusations. I recommend reading the article. I just feel like Hyatt's in the wrong here. I don't think Hyatt has any stance in going after their customers for this if it was offered from a hotel. Now, to your other example, where we know people who have gotten Hyatt stays or Marriott stays or Hilton stays or other brands, I don't want to limit it just to Hyatt, where they've gone to a hotel and they've negotiated a rate. That's not advertised, and that's a little bit more in the gray area if the program finds out about it. And people should know about this. Anytime you're breaking a rule, 99.9% of the people probably won't get caught and lose their points, but you can. And this is all over this hobby because we live in the terms and conditions, right? That's the gray area. That's where we find advantages, but those terms and conditions can be used against you. And at least in the US, there have been some cases where people have won, but it's a big challenge to beat these companies.
Yeah, and we've seen this even in the airlines with like the shopping portals and stuff. And I don't remember what country it was, but people were booking like $8 rooms in Ethiopia or something and getting, loyalty points and getting high-end American Airlines status fairly easily, fairly cheaply. Well, they figured it out because that just looks weird. Like if you do anything too much, it looks weird. Like we talk about bank robbers or these people that steal things in Vegas on the Vegas show, and they go do this stuff. They get away with it 3 times, but they get caught the 4th time. It's like, didn't you have enough money after the first couple? Like greed is what gets you. Doing too much of the same thing is what gets you. So you got to pay attention to these things. And even though it seemed like, hey, I'm getting these rooms for $8 a night, getting 5,000 loyalty points from American Airlines. This is great. Well, when you lose your whole count and your millions of American Airlines miles, it doesn't seem so great anymore. So you got to be careful. Like, yes, we always want to be up to the line. That's kind of where we live. But when you cross it, you just got to be willing to take the smackdown when it comes.
And as Gary points out in the article, fraud is prevalent, right, in all of these programs. And they're not trying to get rid of all of the fraud because to do that would make the program so cumbersome and ridiculous. But they are going to look for the things that are costing them money in the bigger cases of fraud and then the easy wins. So when they come across something, they're going to do that. And that's just sort of what we're doing here. So Hyatt, do better, though. Give these people back their points. That would be my case. I don't think the people are innocent. Probably they knew what they were doing, but in this case, your property, your company, if I go to Hyatt.com, Your Cove is a Hyatt brand. It's on Brand Explorer. It's not really my problem what your back-end business relationship is with that brand. You present it as a Hyatt brand, as a Hyatt hotel. And if they're offering something, you should stand by that. And I don't see any other way around it. So there you go.
I think they have a good chance of losing. But the crazy thing is some like lifetime globalists were doing this. What do you chase? Like the milestone rewards? Are you chasing suite upgrade awards? Like at some point you're just being a jerk.
It's all about the game. It's all about the game. All right. So let's close with this. The most important news of the week, more Amex Platinum rumors for the refresh coming at the end of this month. We're now in September, so that means that we are just a few weeks away from learning everything. Remember, we talked on a previous show that the big rumors, or this was actually a leak, I think, of some terms on Amex's site showing a $600 FHR credit, $300 each half a year. So we believe that's coming to the Platinum cards. But also, we've been talking about Lululemon a lot, I think, on the show. You've been bringing it up about malls and all that, and here we go. $400 Resi credit, $300 Lululemon. Are you going to get your stretchy pants?
Yeah, I mean, this is sexual bias right here. I know they sell men's clothing, but a lot less men. What's the 80-20 split? 90-10 men versus women that go in there, or women versus men? It seems like, okay, hopefully you have a significant other or somebody you can shop for too. But yeah, I don't know that this is great. $75 a quarter makes it annoying. If it was a $300 credit, my daughter would love me and she would go in there and get her pants or her sweatshirts or whatever, because everything's like $100. So $75, you can get a headband and maybe some socks, and that's it for the quarter. I'm sure that buying a gift card in store will work, and that's what people will do. So you can stack them up. I think there's some value there. It's a big brand name. I think more people will enjoy it than not, at least wide, maybe not miles and points people, but to the average consumer. The Resi credit, if that's broken down quarterly too, $100 a quarter, that's kind of annoying. I wish it would just be $200 every 6 months. Then you could go get like a full meal with another person at a lot of these higher end restaurants that they have on there. $100, you're like, maybe it'll cover you. I guess you look at it that way. Have some drinks at a nice place or whatever. That one annoys me a bit less. But we're looking at a $200 increase. We're getting $400 more in a year of FHR credit, $300 of Lululemon, and $400 of Resi. It's well worth the $200. So I'll say that, like, the increase for what you're getting, worth it. But I didn't think the card was worth it before, so I don't know that this is enough to make it worth it.
Does this not like paint a picture of the clientele that they're going after? I mean, between Resi and Lululemon, and these are younger, affluent people. People in their 50s are not using Resi, probably not going to Lululemon. So I think that
they're going to Cracker Barrel.
Yes, with their sexy new old logo. Hey, they won, right? We mentioned Cracker Barrel on a show recently. I think it was the after show in Vegas, but hey, the Cracker Barrel went back to their original logo. It's fascinating times in 2025 as you see a company probably spent a year, I don't know, millions of dollars from a consulting firm to come in to say, this is what we need to do. This is how we're going to redesign our stores. This is what our image is going to look like. This is our new logo. This is it. And then you put it out there to your customers. And my question is, and I think this is a great study, but how do you not know your customers? How do you not know your brands that well? That and a consulting firm, and you bring in all these people, and yet it just takes literally 5 minutes on the internet to explode, to kind of understand that you did this all wrong. And it's got to be very scary for some of these executives, I think, as they try to do this, as they see these backlashes. It's not like it was where, companies have changed their logos for years. And I think people don't like logos. Anytime a company changes its logo, I feel like it takes a while to adjust. But I don't know that I've ever seen a brand backlash like this from something so simple. And I think we're going to keep seeing it as, I hate to bring up private equity again, but this is really what it is, right? It's private equity. It's the same thing that happened to Southwest. And except in this case, it seems like they relented a little bit.
It kind of reminds, do you ever watch the show Silicon Valley on HBO?
Yeah, I watched every episode, but I will not remember any references.
I was gonna say, it reminds me of like when they first do their app and they're like, everybody's like, this is the greatest app ever made. I've never seen it run so well. And all the feedback was positive. Well, the problem was they sent it all to engineers and not to any regular people. So when the regular people got it, they're like, I don't understand this. This doesn't make any sense. It made sense to an engineer building it and sharing it with other engineers, but it doesn't make sense to your grandma, your mother, your sister. So I think that that's what they're doing. Like they're bringing in people that are in this realm to be like, yeah, that's great. Instead of like going to an actual Cracker Barrel or wherever and saying, what do you think of this? You come here every week. What is your thoughts on this change, that change? Do you like it? Do you think this needs to change? So they're just not talking to the right people when they do these things. They're paying they're paying the customers they want instead of the customers they have, I think, to tell them what they would like, but that's not going to be enough to change it. So that's where we're running into these things. You wouldn't think it would be a problem in 2025 with all the technology and everything, but it still is. So it's always funny to see. So Amex is chasing that person, except for they still have the Walmart credit. I don't understand it, but they still got that rolling around down there. I wonder if they get rid of Saks, because Saks and Lululemon, a little bit of maybe Saks was aimed at the elder generation and Lululemon's aimed at more like 30 to 40. I don't know, but I would imagine that's going away. It's just more hoops and nothing that has to do with travel. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, this is a travel card. Yes, the pants are comfortable to wear on a plane, but it has nothing to do with travel. That's why I love the Bank of America Summit card, because it had everything to do with Alaska Airlines, with Atmos. It wasn't farming it out to other partners.
This is the card of living the Instagram lifestyle, right? Going to a fancy restaurant on Resi, wearing your nice Lululemon stretch pants, staying in the FHR hotels, the platinum card and the cachet that comes from it. I mean, they have had that through the generations. Things have changed, and all the other banks have cards now too. But this is really the lifestyle. This is not a travel card; it's a lifestyle card. It really seems like these days, and it's a $900 card. When this all is said and done, $900 out of your pocket for the pleasure of all of this. And I agree with you. I don't recommend this card at all. And I'd also agree with you. They have probably, if this is it, just what we've already seen, these three things, the FHR and these two credits, that is definitely worth the $200 that they're adding on. But yeah, it's probably not worth it for the card in the first place. Welcome offers aside, and they love to give out welcome offers.
Yeah, I think, every card makes sense for the most part in the first year, except for that like MasterCard Black Card. But anything else kind of makes sense because you're going to get the bonus and stuff. And we've talked about Amex triple dipping and timing it. So if you did this applied for this card in December and you're getting to get 3 of these types of credits and really maximize it, then you're really hitting it out of the park. But if you were keeping the card at $700, I don't think this is going to make you not keep it at $900. I think you're getting enough of the value there to keep it. But if you weren't going to keep it at $700, I don't know that you want to go through the aggravation of $900. I'm sure there will be some people that are like, oh, I shop at Lululemon all the time. That's $300 in my pocket. Perfect. Or I really like FHR. Having more of that is perfect. But as a mass quantity, mass produced type of thing, I don't know that it really hits enough of the notes. They didn't even increase the travel credit. Like, that is one. If you're going to increase one thing, why not bump that to 400? I don't know.
Because you need your pants for the plane. I mean, that's what it comes down to. You gotta balance it. I do agree with you. If you're somebody happy with this card at $700, I think you're actually happy for these.
Probably happier. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, $200 for all of this, and you're that person. I think that this is good. And so in that realm and looking at it from that lens, this is really good for American Express. And I think the annual fee is ridiculous. I think at this point, the coupon books are ridiculous, but I do see value in this. Lululemon, like you said, gift cards could potentially be fairly easy and all of that. So I think people should chime in. Is this a card that you're interested in? Are you like us? You'll probably have it because of welcome offers coming and going. We have too many. I have way too many annual fees. I mean, that's something I'm looking at. In some cases, it's for work here, but it's just unmanageable, and it's getting out of hand. So I've been paring that down, and these $900 fees, they just add up way too quickly. And just there's other places to spend your money. There's other cards to have. I don't know. I just feel like those resources are better spent elsewhere than here, even if I could make a mathematical case for this card.
Yeah, I can't wait to spend a weekend just figuring out how to burn all these FHR credits come, 3 weeks. And because I'm going to try to maximize it before I get them away. I have a couple biz plats from the no lifetime language offers. My wife has a Schwab Platinum because we cashed out some membership rewards out of her account. I have a personal one from a no lifetime language offer. So we still have that for a couple more months at least. I don't remember when the annual fees hit, but I will be closing them when they hit unless I get a huge retention offer. I will say this change makes Christmas shopping a little bit easier for my daughter. We're going to have 2 $75 credits. I can just give her a $150 gift card to Lululemon, and she's going to think I'm the greatest dad on earth. And it didn't really cost me anything because this was added after I signed up. So this is all free money to me. And I think that's the real sweet spot when they make these changes. You're a legacy card holder. You get them without the increased annual fee yet, and just make hay while you can.
So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. Frontier, you're going to jump on that status match. Remember, we have a link if you want to support the channel, and it's definitely something we've done in the past. Amex Platinum with all of this new stuff. Are you excited about that? Is Hyatt in the wrong for canceling people's accounts for that whole kerfuffle in China? Let us know down in the comments. We do one show a week every Monday. We have MTM Vegas Tuesdays and Fridays over on our other channel. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Talk to you next time.
Imagine your Hyatt balance getting wiped out tomorrow. Whoa, man, tears.
It's pretty low right now, actually. So it couldn't be a better time.
Perfect.